Here's a question that's ended more relationships than infidelity, money, or distance combined. Why does a woman leave a man who treated her well and yet stay with one who didn't? If you've ever asked that question about your own relationship or someone else's, stay with me for the next 10 minutes, because the answer isn't what most people think. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, we talk about the things people think about but rarely say out loud: relationships, life, money, growth, and the patterns that quietly shape our decisions. And I want to say this clearly, because it matters. This channel isn't just going to be about love and relationships forever. That's where we started, but going forward, we're going to bring you honest, grounded conversations on all kinds of topics that touch everyday life, mindset, money, career, family, growth, anything that helps you understand yourself and the people around you a little better. If that sounds like something you want more of, do me a favor right now and hit that subscribe button. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and it means you won't miss what's coming next. We're talking about something a lot of people feel, but very few can explain. The real reason why, in many relationships, women stay or leave. Not relationship. Not every woman. But there's a pattern here, one that shows up again and again across cultures, across income levels, across how good a man treats his partner. And once you see it, you'll understand a lot of breakups that never made sense to you before. The core idea, and I want you to really sit with this one. In many relationships, a woman tends to be more loyal to her own feelings than to a man's sacrifices for her. But, and this is the part people miss, tends to be more loyal to her own sacrifices than to her feelings. Read that again if you need to, because it sounds contradictory, but it single quotes it means this: the more a man spends, gives, and sacrifices for a woman doesn't automatically guarantee her loyalty. Why? Because in a lot of relationships, a man's financial generosity is quietly seen as his responsibility, not necessarily something that creates an unbreakable emotional debt. But when she is the one who sacrifices her time, her money, her comfort, her plans, that sacrifice creates a bond that's much harder for her to walk away from. Section 2, his money. Probably heard the phrase before. Maybe even said it yourself. My husband, half jokingly, but it reflects something real. In a lot of relationships, there's an unspoken mentality where spending a man's money feels like a shared responsibility, almost expected, while a woman spending her own money on the relationship can feel like an extra, optional gesture. That mindset isn't necessarily selfish. In many cases, it's shaped by culture, upbringing, and even survival instincts passed down for generations. But it does something important. It makes it harder for a woman to walk away from a relationship where she has made real sacrifices, because letting go would mean letting go of something she personally gave up, not just something she received. Section 3. Sacrifice creates staying power. This is why it's actually important in a healthy relationship for a woman to make sacrifices too. Not because she owes it, but because sacrifice is what creates ownership over the relationship. When she's given up something of her own, time, money, career opportunities, comfort, she now has a personal stake in seeing it succeed. She's not just receiving the relationship anymore. She helped build it. That's why you'll often see a woman fight hard for a relationship that's falling apart if she's invested in it herself. She won't walk away easily because walking away means her own sacrifice was for nothing. And most people, men or women, don't like admitting that something they poured themselves into meant nothing. Section 4. Why good treatment alone isn't enough. Side. And it's the part that confuses so many good men. You can treat her well, pay the bills, show up, buy the gifts, be consistent, and she can still leave, not because you did anything wrong, but because her feelings pulled her in a different direction. That's because feelings, on their own, without sacrifice attached to them, tend to be more temporary. if she hasn't personally invested in the relationship the way she's received from it. Her attachment can shift the moment her feelings shift, sometimes without much internal conflict at all. She's not necessarily being cruel or calculated. She's simply following what feels true to her in the moment. Because there's no personal cost tied to walking away, this is why treating her well is necessary, but on its own. It isn't the whole equation equals Section 5. What this actually means. For men, keep giving, but also create space for her to invest emotionally, financially, with her time and effort. A relationship where only one person sacrifices is a relationship that's easier to leave. For women watching this, understand that leaning entirely on feelings, without ever putting something of your own into the relationship, can make it harder to build something that lasts, even with a good partner. And to everyone watching, remember, this is a pattern, not a rule carved in stone. People are different. Relationships are different. But if you've been confused about why a relationship ended, or why one is somehow still standing despite everything ... this piece equals you a new way of looking at your relationship, or maybe explained something from your past that never quite made sense. Let me know in the comments. And remember, we're getting started here. More conversations like this are coming on relationships, life, money, and everything in between. So if you want more content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.